Hi, I'm back. Today, we're going to use Anne Frank's diary to discuss resilience and all that resilience encompasses. Gratitude and adapting. I think those are two components of resilience. Speaking of adapting, my hair is different in this video than it was in the last. Barbershops are a non-essential business right now. I do not trust myself to cut my own hair. This was me adapting to that situation, so I just shaved it off. Everybody's adapting looks a little different. I'm drinking a hibiscus iced tea. How do we find happiness in the little things? Something that Anne talked about, having moments where she felt angry and upset by her situation. She would also acknowledge how they never had to go a day without food. While many other people in hiding probably did, she sometimes would complain how often they had to eat potatoes that had gone a little bad, or just the same thing over and over, but also was able to acknowledge that at least they had food every day. The same with the amount of space that they had. There were 8 of them total in there, but they really did have a good amount of space compared to other people in hiding that were in much smaller, more confined, claustrophobic spaces. Dear Kitty, we're stuck in this house like lepers, especially during winter and the Christmas and New Year's Eve holidays. Actually, I shouldn't even be writing this, since it makes me seem so ungrateful. But I can't keep everything to myself, so I'll repeat what I said at the beginning. Paper is more patient than people. Just imagine what would happen if all of us were to feel sorry for ourselves or walk around with the discontent clearly visible on our faces. Where would that get us? I sometimes wonder if anyone will ever understand what I mean, if anyone will ever overlook my ingratitude and not worry about whether or not I'm Jewish and merely see me as a teenager, badly in need of some good plain fun. Definitely something I've been struggling with, being upset, anxious, overwhelmed, feeling helpless. I think it's really important to feel those things and then eventually get to the gratitude of your situation. That's a part of being resilient. In order to reach gratitude, you have to acknowledge things are not going well for other people, which can also cause anxiety. So I don't think gratitude exists without completely void of anxiety. It actually can go hand in hand sometimes. I'm really grateful for the amount of natural light I get in my apartment. I enjoy being in my home. I have a safe home to be in. I greatly worry about those for whom the shelter in place is not safe. Allowing yourself to feel the angst, feel the worry, also finding what makes you happy within that. She closes out that entry by saying, well, that's enough of that. My writing has raised me somewhat from the depths of despair. So she found solace in her writing. Anne Frank also found solace in nature, something she talked about a lot later in her diary. One of my favorite entries, my dearest Kitty. The weather's been wonderful since yesterday, and I've perked up quite a bit. My writing, the best thing I have, is coming along well. I go to the attic almost every morning to get the stale air out of my lungs. I also looked out the open window, letting my eyes roam over a large part of Amsterdam, over the rooftops and onto the horizon, a strip of blue so pale it was almost invisible. As long as this exists, I thought, this sunshine and this cloudless sky, and as long as I can enjoy it, how can I be sad? As long as this exists, and that should be forever, I know that there will be solace for every sorrow, whatever the circumstances. I firmly believe that nature can bring comfort to all those who suffer. The answer is to not necessarily just go outside. I think, if you can take a walk around the block, wear your mask. I've never looked out of my window so much. Things are starting to bloom, the horizon, the sunsets, seeing the colors change in the sky. I look forward to that every night. I almost run to my window around that time. I'm hearing a siren. I feel like it's interesting talking about beauty in nature, but also hearing the siren. Both exist. As soon as I notice the sun is starting to set, I run to that window. Just enjoy watching the colors of the sky change. I think that is part of what Anne is talking about. That gives me hope, resilience. Using nature to bring comfort is asking me how I can use my inner life, internal landscape to find hope and resilience. How can I look at nature and figure out if that reflects anything within me? The striation of the oranges and the yellows and these soft hues, if those also reflect my inner life, or can they? Nature can bring peace internally, and I think that I can use that to better understand what's happening internally, how I can mirror that. Another part of the resilience and the adapting is the clapping for healthcare workers at 7 p.m. every night. A friend of mine was telling me how that's something she looks forward to every night. Running to her window and clapping and banging on pots and pans. It sounds like a parade or like a marathon's happening, right? Just cheering for healthcare workers. That's a way to support, but by staying inside and doing what is responsible. And again, that adaptation, resilience that happens in these situations, those are all a part of it. Passover was all about resilience, carrying on and surviving and adapting. Be brave. Let's remember our duty and perform it without complaint. There will be a way out. God has never deserted our people. Through the ages, Jews have had to suffer, but through the ages, they've gone on living. And the centuries of suffering have only made them stronger. Chag Sameach.